Are the Jets for real, even without Rodgers? Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. It's your boy Lonnie Z, and this is FaZe Fantasy Live podcast. And again, with me, I have my guest Jake Hansen. Hey, Jake, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you, Lonnie?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. You ready to talk some football?
Let's go.
All right, man. First of all, tonight, that game was kind of that was a badass game. We were putting together a couple of slips, Isaiah and I, and we decided to go low on everything because all the numbers were saying it was going to be a defensive battle, and it actually turned out to be. What did you think about all that?
I thought the same thing. It was a defensive game. It was hard to pick any offense. You didn't know how it was going to be, and I think it surprised a lot of people, especially with the big injury.
Exactly. And Aaron Rodgers, the fourth play of the game, and he goes down. And you just told me, I didn't even see it. I was getting ready for the show, but you just told me he's out for the year, ruptured Achilles.
Salah had a conference right after the game. He's out for the year.
Wow.
That's what they said. And they said he already named Zach Wilson the starting quarterback.
Of course. Now, Zach, it's not like this is Zach's first time. I mean, he's had chance after chance, opportunity after opportunity, and they always seem to want to replace this kid, but he always seems to be the one, left there, playing. So I don't know, man. I don't know what this means. We saw that with that type of defense, all you have to have in that offense is a serviceable quarterback. And because Breece Hall, everyone was talking about, he went late. I didn't draft him because I was kind of worried, but he didn't look like nothing was wrong with him. He looked good, brother.
80-yard run. He looked fast, man. Looks like he got tired at the end, but he looked fast, man.
Yeah.
You could tell they didn't want to run him too much. They didn't run him. I think he got less than 10 carries, but he was quick, man.
Yeah, Breece Hall, he looked real good. He had 10 carries, 127 yards. He averaged 12.7 yards a carry. Obviously, that 83-yarder, really boosted it up there. And then Dalvin had 13 carries for 33 yards. And that's kind of where Dalvin's, he was better last year with the Vikings than that. But, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But I know that the Jets fans are devastated right now.
The hype was big, and now it's like heartbroken for them in the NFL because they wanted to see what he could do. And now, if you really think about it, this could be career ending at his age, but we hope it's not.
Yeah. I really hope it's not. I want to see. I was just as curious as everyone else. I want to see what Aaron could do. Well, let's get into the weekend, man, and talk about some of the games. That Jets game, I think we both had the Bills. So in that game, so I think we both missed that one, but that's all right. There are a few upsets. There are a few upsets this weekend, and I was kind of surprised. One of the games, I'll just throw it out there right away, is the Vikings-Bucks. I don't think anyone saw that coming. You didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. And it wasn't because of what everyone was saying, all offseason and everything. Oh, the Vikings defense is horrible. They're going to give up this and that and all this and the worst defense in the league. And that wasn't what lost them the game. What lost them the game was their inability to score and to hold on to the ball. And I was surprised that their offense was so flat. Well, how'd you see that game?
I seen it the same way you did, I think. Do you think that the Vikings maybe came in underestimating the Bucks? I mean, like we all thought what's going to happen? Like, are they going to be the Bucs from 2 years ago? Are they going to just drop because they lost a lot of defensive guys? So nobody knew, just like the Vikings defense, nobody knew what was going to happen. Like, me and you talked all week. Like, is this the new defense or is this the old defense? You know what I mean? And it's like the same way. Like, you were hoping, like, it seemed like the Vikings should have scored 30 points, but it's like it just didn't happen. It's like all of a sudden you're watching and Kirk Cousins spreading the ball, and then all of a sudden, oh, the Bucs got the ball again. Like, whoa, what happened, man? It's like they couldn't make that big play. They made one with Jefferson, but it's just they couldn't. I don't know. I just thought maybe they underestimated Tampa Bay. I really do. I really do on the defense side.
I would hope not. I would hope that the answer is no to that, but it could be. You come in and you got this swag and, you're at home and they're celebrating Bud Grant. I mean, come on. Poor old Bud. He's probably rolling over in his grave. That's one of my favorite coaches, bro, in the whole world is Bud Grant. And they did him dirty by not bringing home the win. There were a couple of bright notes from that game, a couple of things that we can hit on. Addison looked good. He got about as much, attention as I thought he would, but that long ball to him and the touchdown was nice. So he looked good. He looked like he's going to be a good number 2 to Justin. Now, Jefferson didn't get in the end zone. I was shocked with that. That surprised me that they couldn't figure out a way to get him in the end zone. And then Madison, man, he looked, that was another hot topic with the Vikings. And he didn't look like he was ready or their scheme wasn't ready. One of the two. He did get the touchdown, but I'm not too worried going forward with him. But he just didn't look, like I said, maybe their scheme just didn't look like it was ready to run the ball.
True. I agree with you. And I think by the end of this podcast tonight, I think that's going to be the norm for every game we talk about tonight. It seemed like nothing was hitting for anybody. There was probably 5 teams, maybe 4 teams that looked good. Other than that, I wasn't really impressed. I wasn't really impressed this week, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. Mike Evans looked good. He looked all right. Yeah. Godwin looked like he's out to a slow start. I don't know if him and Baker aren't, having chemistry or what, but they didn't look like they were jiving. And, Rachaad White didn't look too great, bro. I mean, it wasn't that he got a lot of hype coming into the season. And so his debut as the lead guy wasn't that great. That's what I took away from that game. The Vikings quick turnaround and they have their hands full. They can easily start off 0-2, moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Kirk Cousins did everything he can to win that game. He threw for over 330 yards. And Jefferson had over 100 and Addison had over 50. So it's like, I don't know what else they could do, but get the run game going. I think you're right about that. They need to get the run game going for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Madison had 11 carries for 34 yards. That's just not going to get it. White, it was worse, man. Rachaad White had 17 carries for 39 yards, bro. And everyone was saying the Vikings, defense is horrible, but I think that's one takeaway that I took from that game that, hey, their defense looked pretty good.
Yeah, they did.
Actually they looked, really good. Baker he was 21 of 34 for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. Which is, that's not bad for Baker, but 173 yards, you shouldn't be winning that game. You know what I'm saying? But especially on the road.
No, he just kept them in the game pretty much.
Yeah.
He just kept them in it. He didn't lose it for him. That's the only thing with him. He didn't lose it.
That's true. That is true. Well, let's move on. What do you think about that Dolphins Chargers game, bro?
Fire. That was if you change the channel, you're going to miss a touchdown.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That thing was as advertised for sure, because you and I both thought that it was going to be a fireworks game. We were talking about, this is a fantasy dream right here, and it really was. Tyreek Hill just went crazy. in that game. Just went crazy. 11 receptions, 215 yards. He averaged 19.5 yards per catch with 2 touchdowns. He said before coming into this league, this season, he wants to catch for 2,000 yards. Well, he's already on pace. After 10 games, he'll have that done. If he keeps that up, right?
hey, he's for real. He said he studies Madden, so we'll
right?
See. Yeah, but he was for real.
On the flip, man, Waddle only had 4 receptions, but he still had 78 yards on those 4 receptions. So he had the same average, 19.5 yards per catch. Man, they're crazy. They're crazy over there. Yeah. So what would you take away from that game?
It was a firepower game. I was a little shocked about Herbert. I thought he would have had a little more yards and stuff like that, but he still threw for over 240, over 250, but just 1 touchdown.
Yeah, he had he was 23 or 33 for 228.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He wasn't as much as I thought he was going to be, but they stayed with Miami the whole game. They had the end of the game, so there was a lot of dumps to Eckler and all that, but I thought maybe he would have threw for at least 300, and I know Mike Williams got hurt at the end. Keenan Allen looked good. The rookie never really got a chance. Quentin Johnson never got a chance, but I was a little shocked with the Herbert, but you wouldn't think that he only threw for 220 something when they scored over 30 points. You thought it would have been a less scoring game, but I was a little shocked. I thought maybe he would have opened up more. I thought the Chargers would have opened up more with him, but
yeah, I think that has to do with the new offensive coordinator. Because Moore, Kellen Moore.
Yeah, Kellen Moore.
Because if you look at it, man, both Eckler and Kelly had 16 carries each. That's crazy. And they almost both rushed for 100 yards each. Eckler had 117. Kelly had 91 yards rushing. They each got in the end zone. So it looks like they were trying to run a little more and not pass as much, because passing, he was 23 of 33, 23 for 33. That's, he only threw 33 times. On the other hand, Tua had 466 yards and just was slinging it everywhere, 28 of 45, and just, 3 touchdowns. I mean, Tua was just throwing the ball everywhere. That game was very, 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 very entertaining. And I'm with you, bro. I thought I'd see a little more Quentin Johnson too.
Yeah. I was surprised about that. Farham, he got some touches and he got a touchdown, and both tight ends got in the game. But yeah, Quentin Johnson, I was really surprised. That I think 1 catch.
Yeah.
So,
So you had the Chargers in that game because you went with the home team, and I said, well, we'll split it up, and I took Miami. So that was a coin toss. You know what I'm saying? That could have went either way, but that was good. That was a real good game. Very entertaining. I would say that was the game of the week. That to me, that was the game of the week.
Yeah. I agree.
What about the Sunday night game, bro? That game,
that's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, honestly, like, you really think about it. Did a Dallas beat him, or did Giants not even want to play? That's ridiculous. Like, me and you talked about that too, that the 2 night games were going to be just awesome for week 1, and that schedule that NFL did, that was just bullshit. That was like sad. Like, come on, man. Like, really? I mean, a Dallas defense is tough, man, but come on, man. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, Dallas's defense is tough, but the Giants look like crap. Like, I thought Minnesota wasn't ready to play. The Giants made the Vikings look like they were going to win the Super Bowl. I mean,
that was unreal. Yeah, that's the thing. Was Dallas that good, or was the Giants that bad?
Yeah, well, on, man. Let's check out some of the numbers. Daniel Jones was 15 of 28, 104 yards. How do you go 15 to 20, only get 104 yards? That's an average of 3.7 yards a completion, bro. You can't win games. 2 interceptions. He was sacked 7 times for 47 yards. Is that line that bad? I mean, I know the Cowboys, don't get me wrong. Michael Parsons and those guys, they're good. To me, that's the best defense in the league. But not these numbers good. I mean, what the heck? His rating was 32.4. And they brought Tyrod Taylor in. He had he was 2 for 2 for 6 yards.
The first 5 minutes of the game, Daniel Jones had 3 carries for 24 yards. And then, because I don't know if they seen something that, that they couldn't do, with passing or what, but he ran it 3 times in the first 5 minutes. He got 24 yards. And then after that, it just went downhill from there. It was bad. Like that was one of the worst games I've seen. I mean, that was bad, man. That was awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'll be honest with you. I just turned it off. I didn't even finish watching it at all. I watched maybe the first quarter, and then that was about it. Daniel Jones, he rushed 13 times for 43 yards. 13 times. That's more than Saquon rushed 12 times for 51 yards. I mean, it's just a total crapshoot right there. It was just bad. And on the other side, the Cowboys, their offense didn't look that great either. I mean, it was serviceable. Dak was 13 to 24 for 143 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Pollard had 14 carries for 70 yards. That's 5 yards a carry with 2 TDs. So he's for fantasy. Everyone who has Pollard, you did good. I have him in one league. Is that against you? I got him in the league against you, huh? Yeah, I do, bro. I do. I do. We won't talk about our game on there. We'll just,
it's all good. Hey,
we'll just talk about Sabaro.
Tyreek Hill went off. Tyreek Hill went off, bro. Tyreek Hill went off and beat me.
Tyreek did go off.
Tyreek Hill went off and beat me. There it goes.
Yeah,
but hey, guess what though? Like I probably would have beat anybody else in the league other than maybe one more guy. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Good.
Nah. It was a good game. I was worried about playing you. I think we have the best 2 teams in the league, and it's probably gonna be like that at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that game, we can get off that game, bro, because it was just it wasn't even really,
show real quick. Dallas couldn't show what they have in their offense either. Like when they're up that bad, they didn't show. Like everybody's giving a Dak a bad time this morning. He didn't have a chance to show what he has.
No. He did what he did, man. I mean, CeeDee Lamb he had 4 receptions for 77 yards. Brandon Cooks 2 receptions for 22 yards. What are you going to do when your defense is doing with it and the Giants are playing that way? He didn't need to do anything. They even brought Cooper Rush in for a play. Yeah. I think or a series or whatever. So that was a bad game. It was kind of a disgrace. If you're a Giants fan, you're probably disgraced in your hometown, on your field, on Sunday night, prime time, that your worst rival comes in and they just kick your ass in your own backyard. That's pretty bad. That's as bad as it gets in football, man. That is as bad as it gets. All right. So let's get on down the road. Let's talk about your team. We both picked this game right. We both picked the 49ers to get the dub here. And I know talking to you, since you're a big Niner fan, you were a little little butterflies because just like, with your own team, sometimes you just like, man, the Steelers could be tough and all this and that. They kicked the Steelers' ass, bro. That defense looked nasty, bro.
Kicked their ass. Their defense was solid, man. Like I was a little surprised, because Kenny Pickett, I know it's preseason, but the way he finished it off this year, he was, and last year Pittsburgh finished off good. They almost made the playoffs. So yeah, when you asked me, a couple days ago, I was a little surprised, a little worried about Brock and see how he was with the injuries. A lot of quarterbacks have problems, but man, Brock showed, from now on out to the end of the season, I can't worry about Brock no more, man. I just can't worry. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, that boy had poise yesterday. He wasn't afraid. he had TJ Watt on his ass for 3 sacks, and he still stood there and kept going and reading. Like I was watching yesterday, he looked one way to one receiver, and all of a sudden he flipped around and boom, threw it to another receiver that's open. It's like Garoppolo was always just poised on one guy, and that was it. But like yesterday, he was reading his receivers and everything, man, and he stood there and he did good, man. I was really surprised. Like Shanahan, like when the Niners go up, Shanahan always pulls the offense back a little bit and all that. But if he would have kept it open the whole game, I think he would have had another touchdown pass and maybe 300 yards. But Kyle Shanahan, he always pulls back when they're leading. So
yeah,
and their defense was fire. Their defense, Kenny Pickett couldn't do shit. Sorry, but Niners got them. They whooped their ass.
They did. It was a good old. They reminded me of the old Niners back in the day that just would come in and just whoop teams and go on to the next.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the numbers for this game. Brock Purdy went 19 of 29 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. But he can do that. Like I've always said about the 49ers and Shanahan's system is they just need a quarterback, not just so much a game manager, but just someone that understands it and can run it. You don't have to be a great quarterback to succeed in this offense. I had a buddy of mine from the Bay hit me up, and he said his comparison, Brock Purdy, he compares Brock Purdy to a young Drew Brees. And I thought that was a fair assessment, man. The way he's poised, he gets after it. He just seems like he's kind of fearless. He'll try to make any throw. He makes his good reads. He finds the open guy. And so I thought that was a fair assessment, man. I always thought Purdy looked good from the first time I saw him last year. And then we discussed about the 13, no defense above 13 till the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But he ran through those teams like he should have. They got through the first round against Dallas, and then he got hurt, in Philly. So, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Obviously, the coaches knew that because they traded away Trey Lance. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, he studded it out again, just balled out, 22 carries, 152 yards. That big 65-yard run was just a beast mode. And, he was over there doing his thing. But, dude, the real story here, come on now. What happened? Bro, Brandon Ayuk, 8 receptions, 29 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, he was out there showing out, bro. He was like, look, I'm finally out the doghouse and I'm here.
And he was a value play, too, for fantasy, man. He was a value play. And, And everybody's afraid to take McCaffrey. Like, I was afraid to take McCaffrey. He was $9,000 in FanDuel and was like, I don't know about Pittsburgh. Man, he went off.
Yep.
The Niners went off. They surprised me. I mean, that's my team, but they shocked me, man. They shocked me because of the way Pittsburgh finished last year, and then they shocked me. I was, they showed me up, and I'm glad because we got them. We look good, man. I mean, I think we were the best team of the NFL yesterday.
Now you guys look really good.
The only reason I say that is because the Giants look like shit to Dallas.
That's true.
So if they played Dallas a little tougher and Dallas smoked them, then I would say Dallas probably. But the Giants didn't give them a chance. So I think the Niners was the best team yesterday in the NFL.
No, I don't argue. I don't argue with that. I'm not mad at that at all. Your defense is comparable to Dallas's defense. And then your offense is head and shoulders above Dallas's offense. So, yeah, to me, that's an easy argument to have and to win. I think that the Niners served notice to the league yesterday that they're for real. They're hungry. They didn't like the way last season ended. And, because you got to figure, I mean, you're a Niner fan, so you probably felt like you guys didn't have all your bullets weren't in the gun. In that last game against Philly, once Purdy got hurt, then you're like, well, shoot, now we're really at a disadvantage against a really good team. If we were full strength, it would have been different. I mean, I'm sure you must have thought something like that.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't win. You can't win without a quarterback, man.
Nah, especially in the NFC Championship game on the road.
No. And I just don't like how Philly, talks. Like Hassan Reddick talks. Like, oh, the Niners saying this, that. Come on, man. If Jalen Hurts went down, then you guys would have lost. So same thing. So you can't be all cocky. Oh, yeah, okay, let's go when we play this season. Let's go.
No, though, man. They had Gardner Minshew last. They had Minshew last year backing them up. So Hurts might have been able to go down, but the Niners with who the hell they have? Johnson. Josh Johnson. Yeah, bro. That wasn't
Lonnie,
gonna get.
You know what I mean? I could have played quarterback. Me and Lonnie could have been quarterback. Come on, man.
Hey, the Eagles had Mullet Man, bro. Mullet Man is good. He balling,
Come on, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
It is what it is. It's the NFL, bro. But come on, keep it real.
Yep. Well, let's get rapid fire. Let's go through these games real quick, and just anything that you want to just touch on, or I want to touch on. We'll just shoot through these games real quick. Houston and Baltimore. The big story there is J.K. Dobbins. Man, you finally think he's going to have a full year where he's healthy. He starts off looking really good, and then he just tears his Achilles, and he's out. Baltimore still gets the win, 25-9. But, CJ Stroud, it is CJ Stroud, right? Yeah. It's CJ Stroud for Houston, and it's Bryce for Carolina. He didn't look bad, man. It's 28-44, 242 yards, no touchdowns. He didn't look bad, but that's a big blow, I think, for the Ravens.
That's a big blow. And their offensive line didn't look too well. Baltimore's offensive line, there was a lot of Houston D line was in the back a lot. And then Baltimore's offensive coordinator, it didn't look good. Like we had we talked about it with the new offensive coordinator coming in, and we thought it would be different.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar threw for 170 or
169.
169. And then J.K. Dobbins didn't have a lot of yards before he got hurt, But that's a big blow. That's a big blow. I mean, that was probably the top injury until Aaron Rodgers got hurt today. That was pretty bad. That was pretty big for that kid, man.
That's true. Some of the highlights of that game, though, that we could just touch on real quick is that Zay Flowers looks like a baller. 9 receptions, 78 yards. I mean, he just looked the part. He looked like a professional, wide receiver, ready to go and really ready to lead that core over there. So he was sitting on my bench, but he won't be sitting on my bench next week. Trust me. So you have Zay Flowers too in your league. You played him. You played him. Yeah. So in my other league, he's sitting on my bench.
I just thought that Lamar would have looked a lot better against Houston.
I agree.
I know it's a new DeMeco Ryans defense and all that, but I just thought he would have looked a lot better. He looked sloppy.
And you know what, man?
Too. That was a sloppy game.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. We can't sell short good coaches because good coaches get the best out of their men. They really do. And I think that's what DeMeco has done with this defense. And, I know they gave up 25 points, but I was with you. I thought this would be a higher scoring game on the Ravens' part. I thought Lamar would throw for over, 250, and maybe even a rush for like 70, something like that. But none of those things happened. He only had 38 yards rushing, 169 yards. I mean, he didn't even have 200. He barely had 200 total yards.
We found out that morning at 8:00. I text you, Mark Andrews out.
Yeah,
and that was his, think about it. So that's what it looked like when Kelsey got hurt with the Chiefs. It just seemed like when Mark Andrews went out, game plan changed.
That's what gets me too, because they have Isaiah Likely, who last year when he had to step in, he really did a good job. So I was kind of surprised they didn't use him more. He only had 4 targets, 1 reception, and he was one of my, go get him now. On TikTok, I threw up a video about, the injury and go get Likely now. And actually I got him and played him against you, and you're probably happy that I did because he didn't do nothing. I know, but he did nothing, bro. He did nothing. But Hayden Hurst, man. Hayden Hurst. We'll get to Hayden Hurst in a minute.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, let's get to a minute because we talked about that guy and you ain't playing, bro. Come on, man. I was like, what? Come on, man. I can't believe that when I seen that when you sent that to me. I was like, whoa, what happened? And then he got 15 points. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I think he was tied in too, man. I think he was
Yeah.
tied in too.
Yeah, he
On
was.
the day,
Yeah, he
and
was. He was.
we hit that on the head.
Yeah.
That's a win-win. I mean, you know, I love when we get those things right, you know, because putting this information out, we're doing this so we help people play fantasy football and win their leagues. And so when we give them information and intel that really is right on the head, I love that, bro. The Bengals, what the hell? The Bengals and Browns, bro. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I do not care if they're on the road. They know this team. They play this. Joe Burrow cannot win there. He looked like shit. 14 for 31, 82 yards, bro.
82
Come on.
yards.
What is that all about?
They want to say about the rain and all that. But Cleveland played in the rain too, you know. Oh yeah,
exactly.
They look like shit, man. The Bengals look like shit.
Jamar Chase had one reception.
Look like shit, man. Like Watson, he had what? One pick, one touchdown, but 107 yards passing, and that didn't look bad. And Chubb had 100 yards rushing, and then we were talking about that. But yeah, man, Cleveland outclassed them, outplayed them. They whooped their ass. Cleveland whooped Cincinnati's ass. There's no ifs, ands, buts.
Nope.
They whooped their ass, man.
Exactly. What about New Orleans and the Titans? That game, I didn't think that game was going to be so exciting. You know, it's like this whole week. You're right. We're getting into this week and we're going over these games. And it's like, this is all boring. Week one was a boring, low scoring kind of like what's happening here. Tannehill looked like crap, you know, 16-34, 198 yards with 3 interceptions. I mean, you can't win like that. Derrick Henry looks like he's getting old. 15 rushes for 63 yards, no touchdowns. D-Hop, 7 receptions, 65 yards. You know, man.
What happened to Trey Burks, man? What happened to Trey Burks?
I've called him soft, and he's soft, and I think he's soft. And we had Traylon Burks in our big FanDuel, you know, card, and he crapped all over us, man. He did nothing for us, you know. Bad. And he wasn't. You're not a value if you don't score,
or you get one catch.
Right? Exactly. You know? You're just not a value.
But
on the other side.
I'm sorry. Tannehill just played himself off the Titans, man. If he's on the Titans by week 5, I don't know what Mike Vrabel's doing. I mean, he's awful. I mean, you got 2 rookies. Awful. I mean, you got 2 quarterbacks, 1 year experience and 1 rookie with Will Levis. I know he had some injuries, and then Malik Willis. He's garbage. Tannehill is garbage. Watching that game, if they had a quarterback, they would have won that game. They would have won that game.
They lost by a point.
Man, Derek Carr.
Hey, bro, I can't hate on Derek Carr, bro. How can you hate on Carr when he went 23 for 30 for 305 yards, bro?
And they won by 1 point.
That's not his fault. He had a touchdown and a pick. I mean, it could be the offensive coordinator a little bit. I think Carr did his part, and he did. No, he did. I can't be mad at him for that.
I'm not Jamal. Mad at him, but I just, Jamal Williams shit the bed.
Yeah, he didn't do what we thought, right? 18 rushes, 45 yards.
Nobody
seriously?
Nobody did what we thought.
And then there's Rashid Shaheed, who's on the waiver wire. We'll get to that in a minute. You know, he's a waiver target. But if I look at his numbers, bro, let's see what he had. He had 5 receptions for 89 yards, which isn't bad, and a touchdown. So, and then he carried the ball 2 times for 11 yards. So he's a bona fide waiver, you know, if someone's hurting a wide receiver or something like that, he's definitely one of those picks. And then Chris Olave, he did his thing, man. 8 receptions, 112 yards, no touchdowns, but he did what he was supposed to do. But altogether, that game,
right. Mike Thomas got some.
Yeah, 5 for 61. You know, if he stays healthy and you put those 3 together, they could be real serviceable. And I could see how Carr gets 300 yards with those receivers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jamal Williams played. I mean, he did play against one of the top defenses last year for the run. So
yeah,
but he didn't look. But man, he was getting hit every run play in the backfield.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
Yep.
and that could be it. But, it was week 1, but
Yeah.
that game was boring.
It was. Now, here's one of the surprise games for me. The Panthers and the Falcons. Now, the score wasn't the surprise. I think we both said Atlanta would win this game.
Yeah.
But what surprised me is this. Tyler Algier, let's see. Tyler Algier had 15 carries, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson had 10 carries, 56 yards. So they're not, they're really splitting that. Everyone thought Algier was going to be the backup, but according to the numbers, Algier wasn't the backup, and Algier got the goal line work. Now, don't get me wrong, Bijan looked great, for his first game and all that. Yeah. But like that one little touchdown that he got is pretty dirty, and he got a little wiggle in those hips, boy. That boy, But that's something. If Algier is out there, he's got to be rostered. You got to get, he's got to be rostered. Sure. Ritter, 15 to 18, 115 yards. Here's what my thing is. They weren't trying to pass the ball. Drake London is the story here. Drake London, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No receptions, no yards, nothing. Pitts was 2 with 44 yards. 2 receptions for 44 yards.
Nothing.
So what are they doing over there? They have these really talented receivers in Pitts and London, and they're not even throwing the ball. They're not targeting them. They're not going to win their games.
No.
This is not a recipe to get to the Super Bowl. Put it that way. They're not good enough for that. And their run game is good, but it's not good enough to lead them to a Super Bowl because they don't have the defense to do that. And they're not going to be playing teams like the Panthers every week, albeit that division is weak and they get to play these guys twice a year. But I wasn't impressed, man, with that whole.
No, I wasn't either. It kind of reminded me of the Detroit game with Montgomery and Gibbs. It's like they didn't want to give Bijan too many carries, just like they did with Gibbs, And it's like when they got the ball, they looked great. It's like if they had the ball the same touches as the veterans did, they would have had over 100 yards because those guys I mean, their average of what they carried was pretty high. And you're right though, I don't know if Atlanta played to their opponent, maybe because they knew Carolina can't stop the run, but come on, man, you have Drake London that's a beast with USC, and then you have Kyle Pitts. I mean, come on, man, and you don't pass the ball.
Yeah,
it's like they barely won that game.
Yeah,
and Hayden Hurst, like we talked about, he did his. I mean, he did what he had to do. Bryce Young, that was his target, man.
Yeah, it's what they said that they were going to do. Frank Reich finally did not lie. He was being honest when he said he was going to try and work his offense through Hayden Hurst and the offense. And we had talked about they paid Hurst a lot of money, and so they're going to go to him. Hayden Hurst could quickly, the way the tight ends are and how many are injured right now, he can quickly be a tight end 1 in fantasy. Moving forward, if he keeps getting this kind of volume. He had 5 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. And then Bryce Young in his rookie debut, 20 of 38. So they threw a lot, man. 38 times, 20 of 38, 146 yards. Miles Sanders, 18 carries for 72 yards. I mean, I guess, but Hurst led their receiving core with the 5 receptions. And Chuba looked good, man. He only had nine carries, but he looked really good actually. And if he's not on a roster, he might be someone to take a look at and just if you could have a slot or you want to get rid of some dead weight, like I'm going to be getting rid of some dead weight.
That's one of my waiver pickups is Hubbard. Once we get there.
Yeah. Sure. Chuba Hubbard, man. He's definitely needs to be on that list. All right, let's move on down. Let's see where we at. We have Jacksonville. Now we're at Jacksonville and Indy. The story there is Anthony Richardson. Man, I think he had, if you're looking at FanDuel points, he had like 24 FanDuel points or 25, right around in there.
He had a rushing TD and a passing TD, I think.
Yeah, so he had a passing TD. He had an INT.
Yeah.
And he did have a rushing TD. The story is him getting hurt at the end of the game there. He's got to be careful, man. He should be fine.
Yeah, but he's a little careless right now. You know, he's young, but yeah, he has to be careful, man. There was a couple runs that I was like, oh, man. Like Trevor Lawrence told him after the game, hey, you played good and you're going to be a good player, but, bro, you got to calm down because this ain't college no more, man. These are grown men. It's like Trevor Lawrence told him, these are grown men hitting you.
Yep, exactly. So, and I don't know, man. I don't know what these guys are going to do. After today, this just made Jonathan Taylor's case so much stronger after yesterday's game. Because Deion Jackson, 13 carries, 14 yards. I mean,
2 fumbles.
Bro, I don't know. I might have been able to get out. No, I don't know about that. This is the NFL, but I could at least got 7 yards. You know?
Well, he had 2 fumbles also.
Yeah, man. And so, and Evan Hull, 1 for 1, but I think I need to check on it. But I thought I read somewhere he's hurt. Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if week 5 we see Taylor back in that uniform or trade it and they get some assets to make this happen because I don't know. They're not waiting for Caleb. They're not tanking for Caleb. They just drafted their quarterback. So I don't know, man. Travis Etienne looked good. 18 carries, 77 yards, a touchdown. He looked good. Yep. Calvin Ridley. Ridley, as advertised, right?
Yes, sir.
He had a lot of hype, and he backed it up. He looked good.
Yeah, he looked good. Now I have a bad feeling about Christian Kirk. Zay Jones went off, and Christian Kirk was nowhere to be found. I think he had 1 catch.
1 catch, 9 yards.
Yeah. And hopefully, he's a good player. Hopefully, it's the first game. It's the first game, and we'll see. I think this game was a sloppy game too, a messy game, a lot of mistakes, and man, on both sides of the ball, I was just like Deion Jackson had 2 fumbles. Like, oh my, man, it was pretty. Jacksonville should have won a lot more, but they should have lost also. They should have won, but they should have lost.
Yeah, they could have lost easily.
Yeah, bad. And you know what though? About Jonathan Taylor. Baltimore Ravens could be right there, man. They just lost JK. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor. I know they got Gus and they have Justice Hill and they have Melvin Gordon. But Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, Gus, Hill, and Gordon, they're not the answer.
No.
No.
That's
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
He could be. Now you put him on that team, it changes everything with that team. But also, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Harbaugh came out today and said that they're gonna promote from within. That's how they're gonna handle this. So that's why they called up Gordon, from the practice. But I think that you have Leonard Fournette still out there, and you have come on, help me out here from the Browns. What's that? Kareem Hunt. Yeah. So you have Kareem Hunt, you have Leonard Fournette. Now I'm not saying they're great, but Leonard Fournette instantly makes the Ravens a better backfield, from what they have right now. Depending on what kind of shape he's in and whatever, he seems to fit their mold a little bit more. Kareem Hunt actually could too, because he'll catch the ball a lot out of the backfield. Both of them catch the ball. So, but yeah, you're right. They could make a play for Jonathan Taylor. The Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Sam Howell. Yeah, Sam Howell. So you were really high on Sam Howell, and he didn't disappoint fantasy wise. He didn't do bad.
No.
He didn't do bad. Nothing.
Nothing that I thought he would be.
Yeah, nothing spectacular, but 19 to 31, 202 yards. Yeah, Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson didn't really hit as much as I thought he would either. Nobody did, except Robinson did all right. Robinson Jr. did good.
Well, I thought that too. I thought that Robinson Jr. did really good until I just looked at his numbers, and his numbers are 19 carries for 59 yards.
Well,
His longest,
yeah.
his longest was 7. And yeah, he had one receiving touchdown. He had one catch, 7 yards. It was a touchdown.
Yeah.
So that team, man, looks kind of like, what the hell are they doing?
They didn't look good at all. Their defense didn't look good at all either.
No, I mean, we were laughing when we were talking about picking this game. I started laughing because I'm thinking this is a no-brainer. They're going to blow the Cardinals out. Cardinals defense actually looked pretty good. They didn't look like they're tanking, per se. Josh Dobbs, 21 of 30, 132 yards. That's horrible. Connor, 14 carries, 62 yards. Marquise Brown had a carry. Rondale Moore led in receptions. Him and Brown each had 33 yards, 28 yards. Yeah, about what we expected from that game on the Cardinal side. But we expected more, I think.
Yeah, more power from Redskins. From the Commanders. I thought there would have been more offense. But their defense, I mean, they were one of the highest scoring defenses in fantasy this week.
Who? Washington?
Yeah, Washington was top 5.
Yeah, and I think the Cardinals were the number 1.
Yeah. I don't know, after the Jets.
Well, after Dallas and the Jets tonight.
Yeah, and then
the Jets had 30.
Yeah.
They scored 30.
Arizona had a touchdown recovery also. Fumble recovery for a touchdown. So
yeah. Tonight I entered 132,000 entry $9, $2 million, pot, and first place is 250,000. At one point I was in 15th place.
Really?
15th place, and I ended up at, I don't know, 7,000 or something like that place out of 132,000. I made $20. So put in $9 and I made $20. I doubled my money. So it's all right.
Yeah. I won $8 yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. I won $8 on a free one. So
right. Yeah. So as long as we're winning, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. The Raiders and the Broncos, kind of a boring game. Garoppolo looked like Garoppolo. Garoppolo always looks like a second string backup. He just looks that way.
He does.
Russell Wilson looked a little better with Sean Payton, I think. 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 177 yards. Still not great. Mm-hmm. Josh Jacobs didn't look that good. 19 carries, 48 yards. Javonte Williams is the one that I thought looked like he's going to be okay this year. He didn't have a great game, 13 for 52 yards, 13 carries, 52 yards, but he looks like he's going to have a good, he looked healthy, put it that way.
Yeah, he did. He did. Raiders stacked him, stacked on him a lot, but he had a bad game last time he played the Raiders. He didn't really have a good rushing game, but no, he looked healthy though. That was the biggest thing. He looked healthy, and I think he's going to be okay.
I agree.
Okay. And Jimmy G, he did enough. I mean, he doesn't do nothing spectacular, He's just he just did what he could do to. I don't know. He made couple bad throws, in the end zone and stuff, but he did enough to win.
Yeah,
that's a bunch of quarterbacks this week. They did enough to win.
That's right. I took the Broncos. You took the Raiders, so you got me on that one. Yeah, man. Jacoby Myers, the hit on Myers was dirty. I thought that was messed up. He shouldn't have did that. And I hope Myers is okay. He gets out of concussion protocol. I hope that happens pretty quick for his sake, because he looked good.
Good.
Jacoby Myers, he looked good. 9 receptions, 81 yards. Devontae, we don't even need to talk about Devontae because he's going to be Devontae. He's just a stud. He's always, even though he had a bad game, or for him, 6 for 66, still 11 yards a catch. You know what I'm saying? No touchdowns.
Needs another receiver to help him out, and Jacoby looked good yesterday.
He did.
And the Raiders need to run Zamir White because they're going to get Josh Jacobs killed, man. I mean, 19 carries. I mean, he was getting hit every time he got the ball in the backfield. I mean, that boy was like, I was like, come shake it up a little bit, man.
Hey, we said it, man. We said it. When they're their contract year, these guys just run them to the ground, bro.
Man,
they're going to try and kill this guy.
Yeah, he kept getting hit, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, come on, shake it up a little bit. Zamir White had 1 carry.
1 carry, 2 yards.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, come on, man.
Crazy. Let's see here. The Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. That game was actually a little closer than I thought it should have been. Right? 25-20. I thought, Philadelphia should have came out there and just blew them out, but that ain't what happened. And Hurts didn't look good. He didn't look like a second round fantasy draft pick. 22 of 33, 170 yards. And let's see what he rushed for. 9 carries, 37 yards. Gainwell led in carries and yards, 14 and 54. People were saying, hey, get Gainwell if he's available. I don't like anyone in that backfield, bro. I'm not going to get him, and I'm not going to put out anything saying to pick up Gainwell. If anyone wants to get Gainwell, they can get him. That's my opinion on it. That's only my opinion. The receivers looked about right. AJ and Devontae both had 7 receptions. AJ had 79 yards, Devontae 47. Devontae got the touchdown. And on the other side, Ramondre had 12 carries for 25 yards. Nothing there. Zeke looked, kind of old, 7 for 29 yards. He had a better average than Ramondre and more yards. And then Mac Jones, what the hell?
300
30
yards.
Bro, he passed 54 times. They were just throwing the ball every chance they got. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. So, yeah, man.
Well, Ramondre had 60 yards receiving. He had 60
yes, he did.
Receiving, so he did get some points for fantasy wise. But
Mac
Jones, that was a New England offense, man. That was 50 times passing. But yeah, Philadelphia. It's like the Eagles tried to lose that game.
That's what it felt like.
Fumbled. Yeah, it felt like the Eagles were trying to lose that game. It was unreal.
Yeah, man. It did not look good.
No, and that was like a lot of games this week. They started off slow. Maybe it's because they only played 3 preseason games now. I don't know. But
that's true.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to jump on that, what you just said. That is kind of true because they only have 3 games now, and the starters and some of them don't play any of the games. Some teams do run their starters out there for a half or so in one of those games. But yeah, so this is just kind of like the final warm up before the season. But unfortunately, it's during the season, for these teams. And if you get through week 1, then you should be a lot better. Hunter Henry, he ended up as tight end 1. He actually had the most points of any tight end. That's not sustainable. No. Don't run out and get Hunter Henry. That's not going to be the answer to your tight end problems. No. But it was good. Kendrick Bourne, though, on the other hand, if him and Mac Jones keep clicking like that, 6 receptions, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns, if you had to take a receiver from the Patriots, I think Kendrick Bourne. I've always liked Bourne. Even when he was with the Niners, I thought he was good. He just, so maybe he found a home. I don't know.
Yeah, Bourne will be a waiver wire pickup for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. With New England, though, it's just hard to see who's gonna be there. Like Parker and then Boutte, and now Boutte's there, and you just don't know. But New England, and it's always been like that. It's hard.
Yep. The only ones you could ever count on before were Brady, or when Moss was there was Moss. Other than that, and Eckler, and Welker.
Welker. Edelman.
Yeah. Eckler. Eckelman.
Yeah. Wes Welker.
I keep remembering that drunk mayor, Wes Welker, Welker. Remember when he messed his name up in some speech or something?
Yeah.
But all right, man. So the Packers and the Bears, man, the Packers beat the Bears' ass.
Beat their ass. That is crazy.
They came to Chicago and just beat the shit out of them. And Aaron Jones looked good. He looked good. I mean, just his speed and everything.
Yeah.
He looked really good. Came up a little lame there. He should be all right. Had a little hamstring pull or tweaked it a little bit, but he should be fine. But I was kind of surprised the Bears didn't play a little better. Khalil Herbert did 9 for 27. I mean, come on, Roshan looked a little better, 5 for 20. But I don't know, man. What do you think about that game?
Green Bay came out to whoop their ass. Chicago, that surprised me. Like Justin Fields, he has more games like that, then he's not going to be the guy that we're all talking about. Like he was a top 5th quarterback getting drafted in fantasy.
Yeah.
There's some fantasy owners that are pissed off right now.
Yeah, you're looking at one of them.
Yeah.
You said something to me the other day. You said, I bet you after a few weeks, because I have Richardson on my bench, Richardson's going to be starting over Fields. And I said, we'll see. But you might be right, bro. You might be right. On the other hand, Jordan Love, though, he looked good.
Yeah.
Jordan Love looked good. 15 for 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. They didn't ask him to do too much, but what they asked him to do, he did it, and he looked good. He looked poised. Maybe Aaron Rodgers helped him out more than we think because he looked good. He looked, he looked good. I think
going to Aaron Jones helped him out. Maybe doing a little short passes to Aaron helped him out. Romeo Doubs. I like Romeo Doubs. I said something to you, I think a couple days ago that I seen Chris Watson out. I was like, oh man, I like Romeo Doubs, but Dobbs got 2 touchdowns, but I think him dumping it off to Aaron Jones helped them out a lot. To be honest,
for sure. Romeo Doubs, he did look good. His numbers weren't great, 4 for 26, but the 2 touchdowns. That's for fantasy. That's what you want, especially if you're streaming them. On DFS, FanDuel or DraftKings. That would have been a really good because he was cheap. He'd have been a great bargain. So Romeo Doubs. And then let's get this last one. Then we'll wrap it up and we'll hit on some injuries real quick and then get it wrapped up, man. I was blown away with this last game, bro. I was really surprised with this game. And there's like 3 waiver wire targets that, after if you just look at week 1 and you're like, okay, I need to, right. and I dropped one in my other league, man. I had Karen Williams. I drafted him with my last pick. And I dropped him because I had to find a backup tight end or something. Yeah. I doubt if I'll be able to get him back now after what, he's 15 for 52, but the 2 touchdowns and the goal line work, I think, is what is so appealing. He got a lot of the love down the goal line. Akers got in the end zone too.
Yeah. But then Cam had more touches though, right? Cam Akers had more touches than
he did. Aaron. 22 carries for 20, but only 29 yards on 22 carries. That's bad. Neither one of them are crazy, but
No. And I hope it's not true because I'd like to see him do good, but Geno Smith might have just I don't know. He came back to earth or what?
He had 112 yards.
Man, you have to us he had 3 good receivers, right? Like
he has very good receivers.
And I was shocked because the way everybody was talking about the Rams. Are the Rams going to be something? The defense ain't going to be the same. They lost everybody. All they have is Aaron Donald. Bobby Wagner went back to the Seattle. And then 112 yards. 112 yards?
112 yards. Yep.
That's crazy. In Seattle.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I mean,
Matt Stafford throws for 330. That's crazy.
We both picked Seattle in this game
for sure,
and we lost that. Matt Stafford looked good, man. He looked, I don't know if it's the Seattle's defense is that bad, but he was airing it out. He looked like he did a couple years ago. And Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua, bro, those 2 dudes were balling out. I mean, when they needed someone to step up for Kupp, Higbee was only 3 for 49. We thought Higbee would be the one getting all the, the love, and Van Jefferson, we both said he wasn't the answer. Mm-hmm. But man, Puka Nacua looked 10 receptions, 119 yards, and then Tutu Atwell, 6 receptions, 119 yards. These 2 guys look like they're ready to play. Tutu is his 2nd year, and then Puka, he's a rookie. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, 5th round out of BYU.
right? You bring Cup back at some point, and you got these other two with the Matt Stafford looking like that. Now McVay has something to work with, bro, and you might have some trouble when you play against the Rams because they can outscore you. And if their defense gets an attitude ever again, yeah, man, they look pretty good.
Well, we'll see what they do next week.
Yeah.
I think that was the first game. What they say, first game in 9 games. I think he did not get sacked. I think the first game in 9 games or something like that. He did not get sacked at all yesterday. And Seattle's defense was not bad last year. Like we were talking about, like the run defense wasn't bad or was bad because we thought Cam Akers was going to go off. But their cornerbacks and safeties, like they had a lot of promise last year. And yesterday was not good, man. You let 2 receivers that are not going to start on any other team, be honest, as of yesterday. Now, yeah, maybe now, but I mean, you let them go off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that shocked me. I mean, that shocked a lot of guys. I think a lot of people lost money from the Seahawks yesterday.
Oh, for sure. Man, and Bobby Wagner, he did his part, man. He had 19 tackles. I mean, 9 of them were solos, but he had, 19 total tackles. I mean, he's working his ass off, bro. That's like in on almost every play. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It looks like Seattle has some work to do. They're gonna have to figure something out. And it looks like LA is they can be a surprise team this year. Maybe. I know it's just week 1, but I wasn't expecting that at all, bro. Not at all.
Me either.
And it's probably we probably sold Sean McVay a little short. He is a good coach. He won a Super Bowl. He knows what he's doing. So, and last year, both his quarterback and top receiver were out pretty early in the season. Stafford was never right last year and missed so much time. So, yeah, man. So that's all the games, man. That's all the recap of this week's games, and it was a kind of a slow drab. I didn't do anything on FanDuel, man. FanDuel just blew up in my ass. Nothing worked. We made some what I thought were really good, picks based on number and gut and everything. And just nothing, bro. Nothing hit. Yeah. This is a bad weekend all the way around. Let's just talk about some injuries real quick and what that's going to do, some of the key injuries. I think we kind of hit on those already, but waiver wire. So
there's a couple injuries. Deontay Johnson, they think he might have did a little more to his hamstring, so he might be out 3 to 4 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying. I mean, it's not for sure, but they're saying at least he's going to miss 2. He's going to miss a couple weeks, and then that could be a waiver wire pickup for Allen Robinson for Pittsburgh. But the way they looked yesterday, I don't think you want anybody from Pittsburgh other than Pickens or something. Because
if I had a crickets button over here that made that cricket sound when you said Allen Robinson, I would have hit it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Allen Robinson scored 11 fantasy points yesterday, and he was the best receiver out of anybody in Pittsburgh yesterday. I mean, if you need a receiver to go behind Deontay to play with Pittsburgh, that's it. Yep. But I mean, there's other receivers to go after for sure. But I mean, if you want to keep him with Pittsburgh, that's the only guy. Yeah.
Deontay, I didn't realize that the news hadn't come out this morning when I put out my video, my injury report video. It was still day to day, but so you're saying it could be 3 weeks. Yeah, that's not good, man. I thought Deontay was going to have a good year, and he still might. But I thought he was going to bounce back and have a good year this year. Who else on the injury front? What was going on?
From Denver, Dulcich. Yeah, Dulcich.
Yeah.
He's having a MRI, I think, tonight or tomorrow morning, but they think it might be worse than they thought too. But that's pretty much it, other than Rodgers and Dobbins.
Yeah. The big ones. Robert Rodgers and Dobbins. That's a pretty tough one right there. Everyone else got through the week kind of okay. But yeah, man. So the Thursday night game is coming up. You have the Vikings and the Eagles in Philly. Probably a couple days before I really sit down and really look at that game. But just at face value right now, it's not looking good for the Vikings. But the one thing, Philly doesn't look that good either.
No.
And the Vikings, when they do turn their offense on, it turns on. So we'll have to see. Right now, I'm not too optimistic though. What do you think about that game? Just on a nutshell kind of thing.
I agree with you. I mean, they need to get Madison rolling because Cousins went for 330, 340. So he did what he could do. So you need the running game to get started. If they get the running game started, it's going to be a really close game because Jalen Hurts didn't look good at all last week.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the Vikings defense is a little better than everyone thinks it is. And so we'll see. But yeah, man, I think that's it. I think we covered everything. You got anything else you want to cover?
There's a couple waiver wire, like you said, for running backs. I would say Kyron Williams, if he's out there, get him. We said that Akers had more touches, but Kyron had way more touches between the lines. So then I think Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, they're out there. So that's the only receivers that the Rams have. So if you need somebody, I would take a chance on them for sure because they're the only ones out there. And Zay Jones, he's out there. I would take a chance on him and a tight end that we talked about so much, but we never used him, Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst, man. Hayden Hurst. I did have him on one card. I had him on one of my cards, and I think I won $12 on that one. It was a big tournament. But yeah, Hayden Hurst definitely is the number one waiver wire tight end. If you need a tight end, you might just want to get him. Hopefully you don't need a whole lot of other things because you should just get Hayden Hurst. Rashid Shaheed is another really good waiver wire. He should be rostered in every league. And flip a coin whether you want to get Gus or Justice Hill. Yeah. For me, I would probably take Hill just based on they had the exact same amount of carries, but just based on what they did at the goal line, Hill was the guy getting all the goal line love. So, if you had to put your, back up against the wall, I wouldn't be too thrilled with either one of those guys, though, in that offense for some reason. Romeo Dobbs, you had mentioned
Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, and Kendrick Bourne for sure. For sure.
Other than that, Chuba Hubbard, if he's there.
Yeah. Chuba looked good, man. And Tyler Algier, if he's he's not rostered in like 46% of ESPN leagues. And so if he's available, and that's just ESPN, but if he's available in your league, you need to really go out and just get him now because he's a great handcuff. If something should happen to Bijan, this guy's already a starting running back, and he's already getting more carries than Bijan. So
if Anthony Richardson is out there, get him. If Anthony Richardson's out there, get him.
Yeah, if he
scored top 7 quarterback, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I agree. If Richardson's out there, get him. I had him rostered in both of my leagues, and I needed a tight end, and so I was hoping he wouldn't go off, man. So I'm gonna try to get him back, but we'll see. You could be an asshole and just pick him up before me.
You know what? Because the backup for Miami, man, I was thinking about dropping him for Richardson, but no, I don't know. No, it's all good.
Look, man, it's all it's football, baby. You do what you got to do for your team. Yep. And if someone drops someone and he's out there, in retrospect, I probably should have dropped. There's one other. Who was it that I didn't want to drop? Oh, Antonio Gibson. I didn't want to drop him because I don't have that many running backs on that team right now. And so I just didn't want to drop him. I should have dropped Antonio Gibson. If I get a chance, I will and get Richardson back. So we'll see if Richardson's there. I don't know what you need on your team. But for me, yeah, it likely didn't do it. He didn't do the job. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Hayden Hurst. That should be your pick. That if I were you, looking at your team, you have Kincaid, who looked good tonight. He got 4 receptions.
Yeah. He looked all right.
Hayden Hurst would probably be the one I was looking at if I were you, before Richardson. But Richardson's good, man. I think he's going to be all right if he can stay healthy. Shit, he already got hurt first game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's show. We hope that you got some value out of this, and we're just trying to get you all the information for your fantasy team as quickly and clearly as possible. Thanks for listening. I'm Lonnie. He's Jake, and we'll catch you on the next one.